Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I have to tell you, seeing John J. York celebrate 35 years on General Hospital really put a smile on my face. 35 years is no small thing in daytime television. And when I think about how many faces have come and gone in Port Charles, it says a lot that Max Scorpio is still standing strong. Folks, that's the kind of loyalty you just don't see every day anymore. What touched me even more wasn't the anniversary itself. It was the way York spent so much of that moment talking about someone else instead of himself. From everything I read, it became clear that York hasn't forgotten the people who helped him find his footing all those years ago. When he looked back on joining General Hospital in 1991, he didn't paint himself as the hero of the story. Instead, he gave heartfelt credit to Tristan Rogers, and I have to say that kind of gratitude always gets my attention. Around here, we'd say, character shows when nobody's forcing you to be kind, and York's words felt exactly like that. I always find it fascinating how a character can grow right alongside the actor who plays him. York explained that Mac first arrived in Port Charles as a tough mercenary, someone who wasn't exactly the man fans know today. But little by little, pieces of York's own personality found their way into Mac. That's probably why Mac slowly became one of the most dependable, trustworthy people in town. To me, that wasn't just smart writing. It was a reminder that the best television characters often become believable because the actor leaves a little piece of his own heart behind. Then came the part that honestly meant the most to me. York spoke about Tristan Rogers with genuine warmth, calling him a daytime television legend who welcomed him from the very beginning. I could almost picture those two sitting in the dressing room, talking through scenes, sharing laughs, and building the kind of friendship that doesn't disappear when the cameras stop rolling. In an industry where people often talk about competition, hearing someone remember a mentor with so much affection feels refreshing. Bless his heart, Tristan didn't just help create Robert Scorpio, he helped shape John J. York's journey at General Hospital, and I don't think York has ever forgotten that gift. Another reason I admire York is that he isn't afraid to talk openly about life's difficult chapters. After everything he has been through with his health, hearing him say that he's doing well now and only needs checkups every 4 months felt like wonderful news. I couldn't help smiling because I know so many fans have been rooting for him. He also made sure to thank his General Hospital family and the viewers who stood beside him through those challenging days. You know what? Success is nice, but gratitude tells me far more about a person than awards or anniversaries ever could. Looking back at Mac's love story with Felicia also brought out another emotional side of York. He admitted how moved he was when Felicia finally chose Mac during the show's 50th anniversary celebration. I completely understand why. Sure, longtime fans will always remember the Frisco and Felicia romance, but sometimes the quieter love stories are the ones that last. Mac and Felicia earned their happiness through years of heartbreak, patience, and second chances. To me, that's the kind of relationship that feels real, and maybe that's why so many viewers have continued cheering for them after all these years. The more I thought about John J. York's story, the more I realized that his greatest challenge had nothing to do with scripts, ratings, or dramatic storylines. It came in 2023, when real life demanded every bit of strength he had. While many of us were waiting for Max Scorpio to return to our television screens, York was fighting a battle that no actor ever wants to face. Being diagnosed with myelodysplastic syndrome and smoldering multiple myeloma is enough to shake anyone's world. I remember thinking back then that suddenly all the little debates about who should end up with whom on General Hospital didn't seem nearly as important. Sometimes life has a way of reminding us what truly matters. What amazed me was how calmly York talked about that difficult period. He didn't make himself sound like a hero, and he certainly wasn't asking anyone to feel sorry for him. Instead, he spoke with the quiet confidence of someone who had walked through the storm and come out stronger on the other side. Hearing him explain that there was a time when he had to go to the hospital every single day for 6 straight months really put things into perspective for me. Can you imagine living like that? Every morning waking up knowing another hospital visit was waiting for you. That kind of routine would wear down even the strongest person. So when he happily shared that those visits have now been reduced to just once every 4 months, I couldn't help but smile. Folks, that's not just good news. That's the kind of progress that deserves to be celebrated. I think one reason York's recovery feels so inspiring is because he never tried to convince us that he did it all by himself. We hear people talk about independence all the time, but moments like these remind me that none of us are meant to carry life's heaviest burdens alone. York admitted there were plenty of moments when he prayed by himself, searching for strength and hoping for better days. That image stayed with me because we've all had moments when life feels uncertain, even if our struggles are completely different. But then something beautiful happened. The General Hospital family surrounded him with support in ways that went far beyond simple words. Cast members, producers, and longtime friends continued reaching out with phone calls, messages, videos, and constant encouragement. Frank Valentini stayed connected. Christina Wagner never stopped checking in. John Lindstrom was there as well, along with many others who simply wanted York to know he wasn't forgotten. I have to say, that touched me more than I expected. In Hollywood, people often assume friendships disappear the moment the cameras stop rolling. Stories like this remind me that genuine friendships still exist. Sometimes the people you work beside for decades really do become your second family. You know what else stood out to me? York never sounded bitter about what he had gone through. He wasn't asking, why me? Instead, every time he talked about his recovery, gratitude seemed to come first. I admire that. It's easy to be thankful when everything is going your way. It's much harder to keep that attitude after spending months in hospitals, wondering what tomorrow might bring. That kind of outlook tells me a lot about the man behind Max Scorpio. Then there was the way he talked about General Hospital itself. When York called the show his second home, I believed every single word. After 35 years, how could it not be? Think about how much life has happened during that time. Cast members have come and gone. Writers have changed. Storylines have risen and fallen. Television itself has changed in ways nobody could have imagined back in the early 1990s. Yet, through all those changes, John J. York remained one of the familiar faces that fans could always count on. There's something comforting about that kind of consistency, especially for longtime viewers who have spent decades growing older alongside these characters. I also couldn't help noticing that York's appreciation wasn't limited to the people behind the scenes. He made it clear that the fans played a huge role in helping him get through those difficult years. I honestly believe actors sometimes underestimate how deeply viewers care about them. To us, they aren't just faces on a screen. They're part of our daily routine, our memories, and even our families. Many fans have watched Max Scorpio for decades. They've celebrated his victories, worried about his setbacks, laughed at his lighter moments, and cried during his heartbreaks. So when York says he felt supported by the audience during his illness, that relationship suddenly feels much more personal. It reminds me that the connection between actors and longtime soap fans is unlike anything else in television. The moment that made me grin from ear to ear was York's hopeful message about the future. Instead of looking back and saying, what a wonderful 35 years, he looked ahead and said, in essence, let's do another 35. Now that's optimism. Sure, none of us knows what tomorrow will bring, but I love that attitude. It tells me he isn't finished. He still enjoys coming to work. He still loves playing Max Scorpio. He still feels excited every time he walks onto the General Hospital set. After everything he survived, that enthusiasm feels even more meaningful. When I step back and look at the whole picture, I honestly don't see this as just another anniversary interview. I see a story about loyalty, friendship, perseverance, gratitude, and hope. John J. York could have spent the entire interview talking about his own accomplishments, but instead he thanked Tristan Rogers for welcoming him, praised his General Hospital family for standing beside him, expressed gratitude to the fans who never stopped believing in him, and looked toward the future with the same excitement he probably had back in 1991. To me, that says everything I need to know about the kind of man he is. If you ask me, anniversaries aren't really about counting years. They're about measuring the lives you've touched along the way. By that standard, John J. York has built something truly special. Whether he's solving mysteries as Max Scorpio, sharing emotional scenes with Felicia, or simply reminding us that kindness and gratitude still matter, he's earned every bit of respect that comes his way. And I'll tell you this, I sincerely hope he gets his wish. I'd be more than happy to watch him walk through the doors of General Hospital for many more years to come, because Port Charles just feels a little more like home whenever Max Scorpio is there.